Hey guys, I've got a special guest today. My very best friend.
In the whole entire world.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Harry. I'm a first year medical student. Just recently finished first year, and I've got an interest for like sexual health and all things related to that. But yeah.
Wait, do you think you're actually going to specialise in it? I wasn't actually thinking about that.
Yeah, do you think
actually,
yeah,
like stuff like that, like
Gynecology, how specific?
like very diseases down there, and
yeah.
you know.
Do you do like research as well? Do you think you do just sort of, just like specifically gynecology or specifically clinics, or what do you think you do?
At the moment, I don't know like either obs and gynae or like doing when you go to like the clinic and things like that kind of medicine. There's all interesting like different things and different people.
That'd be really cool. Maybe we'll get into some of that. But today it's going to be quite a series of questions about, obviously we've just had sort of Pride Month and stuff, and we always get into deep conversations, Harry and I, as well as me and Louise, so we're going to speak about lots of different things. So first question is, do you think everyone should have to come out?
I'm always like a big like believer that like no one should like force to do something. Everything should be like you have the choice to do something.
Yeah.
So I don't think you should be like forced to come out, but I think in a way it's a bit unfair to the people in your life that know you. For instance, like Philip Schofield, who's been like married the wife like 20 years, so ridiculous, and like how she must have felt like, you know, it would have been easier for him to come out when he was 18 or whatever. Yeah.
That would like literally traumatize you for life and like scar you. Like every single memory you had of them, you'd be like, he didn't want to have sex with me every single time he had sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess in this country as well, where it's like, obviously there are some countries where you could die, or even in this country there's certain like family situations where it might be a danger. But like if you can come out, do you know what I mean? If it's not like, if you have that option, then you should probably like, at least not affect people like families.
I think the way I thought about this question is like the thing of like having to come out. I think you should just be who you are anyway.
Yeah.
If you bring home a girl or a boy, that's it. Just say it, rather than sit your parents down and being like, by the way, I sexually prefer this gender. I just think it's so dumb.
I think that's what they assume, right? So like, I feel like the first time we ever spoke about it, we came back from first year of uni. We've known each other since we were like 11.
Yeah.
And then you just like, this guy I got with or whatever, and then we just continued on the story. It wasn't like that's like you came out and just like
that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That's how it should be.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, you're like.
It was not the first year after uni.
The first year uni.
Summer or something.
First year of uni.
Yeah.
Surely. Do you remember that time when I called you?
About what?
No, because someone told me that you were seeing someone at my school, and then I was like, oh, but that was not you. That was like, surely you were like in school, like year 12 or something.
No, I think it was.
I don't think we ever talked about it like when.
No, because you had some girlfriends before that, obviously.
Well, girlfriends.
Some beards. There's some beards before that, and that was like, obviously I knew about those.
Yeah.
No, surely it was the first year of uni. Surely.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
I just remember we were sitting there, and you just like telling me a funny night out story, and you were like, well, you know I'm bi, right? And I was like, yeah. And then you just.
Oh, so it went from you thinking he was bi.
Well, I think it's again like I feel like it's not something we ever like.
Yeah.
Just had a separate conversation about. It was just like.
I remember because it's when you were living in that house when you were getting here done up, and then you were in that other house in I don't know where that was.
I got such a vivid memory of us. Like, you guys, was it the car?
When what?
Or was it you behind the car?
When what happened?
We were in a car park or something, and then you started driving off. And, like one of us wasn't in the car, like me, us, and Hannah.
Remember
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we went to Serves or something like that.
Yeah. But we have. I mean, obviously it's been like 12 years, so we've just got. A million memories, and you've probably met like everyone in my family as well.
Yeah,
so it is
pretty obvious anyway.
To be honest, so she's like, if you said like, so I got this girl. I think I'm gonna get married to her. Like, what? To come out straight, and you're like, guys, I decided not to be gay. So exactly. I mean, I remember your parents as well. It was like,
most parents just know, don't they?
My mum kind of outed me though. Like she saw like a text on my phone from a guy.
Oh really?
And then I think I don't know why I thought they would react badly.
Yeah.
But obviously they didn't. They were fine with it.
Yeah.
But she was just like, "What's this text from this guy?" And I couldn't get out of it. I couldn't make an excuse. And then I was like, "Yeah, I'm gay."
Yeah. How was that? Did you feel like you panicked? Like the second she said it, how were you feeling, kind of?
Yeah, like my heart dropped. And I was like, "Oh my god." Yeah. But it's fine. Like you just work it. I think because you see like things in the news that you just presume like BBC News and like gay people have like got like homophobic attacks and things like that.
Yeah.
You think it's like more common like I think than it actually is in real life.
Yeah.
Especially like England, it's not like quite rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's great. No, honestly, that is so good that you're saying it doesn't always have to be this like.
Yeah, I feel like some parents might also be like, even if they don't agree with it, they'll say it like to your face, like, don't worry, and then they might like cry in their bedroom for a bit or something. But then they'll eventually get over it.
Yeah,
even if at the beginning they're like, oh no, they'll probably eventually get over it.
Yeah, but then that's not everyone's story. Like, do you know anyone who's like had that where they're not come out and you've kind of been like, oh, you want to encourage them to, but you're not really sure? Or
there's actually the house party I was at last night.
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't watch this. He literally he came up to me last night.
You can use a different name if you want. Call him like
Mr. X. But yeah, he literally came up to me last night, but everyone had that kind of like suspicion.
Yeah.
And then he was quite old. He was like 27.
Yeah.
He came out last night.
Yeah.
I think when he came up to have a conversation, you were going to say something else. No, he
came out.
His first time.
Not the first time, I think, but he's like the very on the first handful of people that he sold.
Wow.
27.
Yeah. And then it's like I felt a bit bad for him, like because it's not like necessarily wasted time, but it's like
I feel like it is wasted time. I feel like not accepting yourself for the 27 years that you've been alive is pretty.
Do you reckon that was to do with what do you reckon the reason is why it's taken him so long?
Honestly, no. I asked about like if you have religious parents, but he didn't. I don't know. I think it's just again that thing where you just think like the whole world's like, or against gay people or whatever. Like because you see, I think the news honestly doesn't help when it becomes more amplified.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like a teenager, like it's influenceable that age. Yeah. That you see stuff like that.
Right. So you think actually instead of saying like all the warning signs for it should just be normalised a little bit more,
just like a more positive outlook instead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you shared a story, so somebody else can see this and say, oh. Maybe it's not that bad. There you go. Make a little clip on TikTok or whatever we put it on. Oh, mum, dad, I'm gay. All right, it worked. Hopefully that can happen. Cool. So next question is quite like a big question, so probably take us a little bit of unpacking. But it's like, do we think in general the whole obviously there's LGBT and now obviously Q meaning queer has just made it and plus has made it so many things in that. Do you think like the general movement, the stuff about having to do pronouns and they and all the like laws and issues around the whole thing, do you think it's like generally going too far, or do you think it's necessary, or like what people's opinions about it?
I think at the moment it's going a bit far. Like I think we already have like laws in this country for like LGBTQ plus whatever you call it laws, but for anti-discrimination laws and things like that. Yeah. Well, I think the pronouns thing is going a bit far. And especially like the different genders and like pansexual and things like that. Yeah. Where they say like, oh, I'm pansexual, so I'm not really like I don't feel a gender myself. I'm just attracted to like personalities or whatever, but only have sex with women. Like I'm pretty sure like only just making like an extra label.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The way I described it is like I think it's a liberal movement, right? But it's done through like quite a they talk about gender social construct, all these things, labels are holding us down. That was like how it started. And I was like, okay, but now you're trying to sort it out by making more labels. More constructs.
I don't want any more labels. Just do whatever you want, and then hopefully people that care about you won't care.
Like they should, labels are useful, right? Because like for example, let's say you're going out to somebody and you want to say to them that you're gay. Yeah. The label gay helps you it means something specific, like whatever. But if there's like labels that help you like navigate a certain situation, cool. But like you say, there's no difference between a pansexual who only sleeps with girls and a straight guy who's maybe like a bit feminine or whatever. Yeah. So just be straight and not have that label. Yeah.
Or just like, I feel like you could just go up to someone and say I fancy you, and then it's their prerogative if they want to freak out because you didn't say specifically that you were gay first. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like.
It's I think like because there is a certain ease, like we said with the gay thing, like if you could say that you're gay, it means that people obviously know how. Like for example, if they are attracted to you or not, they can say it from there. So there's ease with having labels sometimes that I feel like some people they don't fit neatly into a label. Kind of feel like they wish they has like a word that explains generally that whole situation. But unfortunately, they just sometimes isn't, and you just have to get to know people. And eventually, they can understand what your situation is. And I feel like maybe that'd be the better way forward.
I think it's just maybe like making like issues in the future where there shouldn't really be an issue, like how many like more complicated situations like that become, and like the use of like gender neutral bathrooms and things like that, and transgender people.
Yeah.
I was saying the gender neutral bathroom thing. I quite like the idea of having gender neutral bathrooms. Because I quite like the idea of not having to queue if I can go to the boys' toilet.
I think it's convenient, but you just get so many sticky situations out of it as well. Like the whole, if there's young people in there, like obviously you don't get predators and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And come in there in that situation. Like the picture you sent me yesterday.
Oh, do you want to tell a story about it? Oh my god.
So apparently literally on his road, there was a grown man dressed up as a schoolgirl, approaching schoolgirls, sort of like befriending them, and then somebody came up to them and asked, "What are you doing?" And they just said like, what was it they say?
He said it was like he was doing a charity like fundraiser, so he was like collecting money for charity, but speaking to like schoolgirls like outside of like the grammar school. Obviously, that's like not normal behaviour.
He was just incorrect with that.
Yeah. So in that situation, you could have somebody who's trans, who's like speaking to a girl in a bathroom, and like obviously people can speak. No one's there watching. You can say do whatever you want in a bathroom, especially if it's just speaking. But then secretly, if it's a predator dressed up as, dressed to be presented like to be a trans. Obviously, this is not to say everybody's trans.
If I saw a man like just in a wig in the girls' toilets, I think the first thing I would do is laugh. How like because if he was just
awkwardness.
If he was just like, oh hey girl, like, do you get what I mean? But like he fully was just wearing a full on dress and like, but like I don't know. But like he was just.
Oh, what you're saying? If he looked pretty much like a male head to toe, apart from just maybe his hair or whatever.
Yeah.
You think it was just sort of some sort of. It would almost look okay, but if they look sort of, you could probably tell they're around, but quite feminine.
Oh, then I would just probably be like, oh, that's just a transgender person.
Yeah.
And then, but like if it was just fully just a man, like a cross dresser, I guess.
Yeah, but you do see that. You do see like transgender people in suits.
I don't think I've ever seen a cross dresser in the girls' toilets before. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't. So I think my first reaction would just be like, "What the fuck is happening right now?"
I guess
especially if you're drunk.
They wouldn't be allowed in girls' toilets, right? Because what they're saying is that I'm male and I just like to wear.
They could just walk in there.
Yeah.
If you, especially if you just saw the back of them, you just like link long hair. If they're wearing a dress. And then just hide the calves.
I think it's just a weird space. Like it's not necessary to have it. Just separate it.
Yeah,
I think. But then in clubs like that, is that club that we went to for your...
Pinks, is it Pinks?
Oh, yeah.
That's the best club I've ever been to. Why is there a cafe? Why is there a retro 50s cafe just in the middle of the club?
Yeah.
It's so sick.
It's a cool club. And remember the Scrooge Club was like, there are gay people here. Are you okay? It's like, yes, I'm okay with that. What? It's got big pink lights outside.
Pretty sure any club has got pinks in the name. It's probably going to be a gay club.
Yeah, exactly. So I think sometimes, like you say, with coming out, like I think sometimes people make a big deal of it than it is to most people. Like I think a lot of people's kind of businesses, like as long as it's not affecting me in any specific way, they don't need to have an opinion on it. So I think a lot of these things, but I do think as well, one of the things we were going to bring up anyway was if all these stuff are like social constructs and stuff, do you think trans is? Because obviously being trans has physically changed something about you. But I'm kind of the opinion that if you were just by yourself on an island, it's not like a thing that would exist. I think it's a thing that you think, right, my sort of body
because gender is
doesn't really fit how I act as a person. So you feel like in order for people to like see how I act as a person compared to my body, I've got to
change my body.
Kind of fix a cognitive distance between that and like put them the same.
Yeah.
But really, if we had less labels and this, then that would go away. Or do you think it is something that either way would be a thing?
I don't really know, because you think about like, well, what makes you attracted to someone? It's like a weird thing in your head. So like, how does like a piece of DNA make you attracted to certain people and some other people you're not attracted to? So surely that must be like, I don't know, like a bit in your brain where it just, I don't know. We did psychology where they said it's like, I can't remember what part it's called in the brain, but it's smaller in transgender people, and it mimics more the size of like a woman. Yeah. So they've done enough studies to say that people who are transgender, so let's say you're a man physically, they have female brains. Like, anatomically, they've got female brains. And then vice versa.
I didn't know there was a difference between a female and a man brain.
I think it's just, what is it, just bigger?
I think there's some bits are just larger and some, bits function differently.
Yeah.
Sure, they know that for fact. Like, surely like scientists analyse brains all the time.
Yeah, no, this significant study to say that people who are transgender do have a more typically female brain
Or
if they are,
male. I just think
the
like
brain that I would associate with.
I don't know if anyone knows who this is. Nikita Dragon, probably.
Oh yeah,
she's just amazing. I just love her, right? And I just think for someone like her, her surgery's so insane that she looks like a woman, and it's just like because the type of people she's attracted to are straight men, and so she wants to be desired by them. But if she just stayed in her original body, they wouldn't go. She couldn't have that sort of relationship with them because they wouldn't go for her. Yeah. So I think that is a big part of it.
So I agree with you, and that's kind of what I'm saying, like that, but that still is about other people. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying transgender is a way to sort of like
conform
adapt
to other
your situation. Yeah. Which I'm not saying isn't necessary. I'm just saying like it's not like like people say like I was always a woman. Yeah. That kind of thing. I don't think it's like intrinsic about you. Like for example, let's say you lived in a place where we were talking about Rome just now. Yeah. Where it wasn't what you look like, being a man or female, or like how you acted wasn't necessarily about who you were having sex with. Yeah. So if that was the case, let's say there was a place right now in the world that was like that, then you wouldn't need to change the way you look to have engaged somebody sexually if there was some sort of attraction anyway. Yeah. So in that sense, like, and we're not going to change society.
But I guess they are sort of tricking them. It's like a fantasy. Like Nikita Dragon always says she's a fantasy to these men because they wouldn't be attracted to her if she didn't have fake boobs and a fake body. And
but that's like saying girls who do fake stuff but makeup on are tricking men.
Yeah, that's true.
They are. They are. If you've got lip fillers, jaw fillers, and a nose filler, you do look completely different to the person you work for.
Molly May.
I mean, I don't watch this.
If you'd like to be on the podcast, Molly May, please ignore that. I mean, it is, but it's like they are genuinely attracted as well at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? So like. They are. It might not be what they originally were born with.
Yeah.
They're not born with.
But they're only attracted to you because you've changed yourself.
But they are attracted to what you're showing right now.
That's what I'm saying. So. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's not. Yeah, I guess it comes to that issue of like, should you have to? So similar coming out. Should you have to? When do you announce that you are born a different gender in like a sexual encounter? Like, when do you think they should have to do it?
Like, imagine if you were like, do you know what I mean? Imagine if you got like, actually, let's think about this. Let's think about this in terms of what I've just said. So you getting with this girl in the club, she's like, honestly, Thai level, level transgender, right? Yeah. She is you do everywhere like a woman, right? You get with her, then you find out she's transgender, like, what if you got with a girl, like, who had fake boobs, fake ass, fake nose, fake hair, fake lips, fake cheeks, fake jaw. You could actually do all this. And then you find out 10 years ago she was completely butters, like really ugly. Like really ugly. Surely that's the same.
The difference with that is like, I think, so for example, I do think it's, if you're going to choose to get with someone, it's kind of your responsibility to like take, if you decide to take someone off face value, that's kind of your decision. Yeah. However, I feel like if I slept with someone that was male at birth and reassign their gender and that kind of thing, I think just the concept of it would make me feel like badly. It's just my ego, whatever it is.
Imagine if they had surgery 10 years ago. They're a completely different person. They don't look anything like they. Fair enough, it's like a year fresh to go.
Yeah, but I think like
you can tell.
I feel like it's just people think that the whole being a born male thing, that's like something intrinsic about them still. It's like you're still a male in people's heads.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're female, you always, yes, you were like an uglier female or a fatter female, whatever it is, but you're still like basically all I was having sex with you on the basis of was that you are female and are attracted to me right now. Whereas if you're having sex with somebody who you think was always female, do you know what I mean? That bit's changed. Yeah. I guess. I mean, would you be annoyed if you had sex with a man who used to be female?
Yeah, I kind of, as bad as it sounds, it would just be a bit odd to me. Yeah. Like, I guess it's just, again, like, it's how you attract to, like, you know, there's some people you just aren't and some people you are, so I can't really explain it, but I don't think I would. Yeah, you'd feel like you were sort of lied to kind of thing. Yeah. Do you think it should be, like, in law, do you think that should be, from that story where that, like, girl got sort of catfished by her best friend?
Oh,
God. Remember that story?
Was it on the...
She's like... I was like Facebook catfished by my best friend, and then there was a hotel room to have sex, and she was like, "Oh, you can't see my face because I was." Yeah.
Remember? Oh, what was it? Like she wore a strap on or something like that. Yeah. For years. Yeah.
And then she like sued her or something.
But alright, this is a good. Wait, so if alright, so say someone was transgender, but we're talking like 100 years in the future where you can change like your DNA.
That would be awesome, by the way. I really want to say that. That whenever I look at Nikita Dragon, I'm like, I wish you could just zap and just have an actual vagina. The boobs thing is thingy because some girls have actual flat chests and then get fake boobs exactly the same.
Yeah.
But it's just more the vagina thing.
Yeah.
That's probably the thing that's holding people back.
Yeah. I guess like.
What about hermaphrodite?
So I want to answer your question because I felt like we tangent on that. But just on that, I do think the whole natural thing is maybe because like technically you're attracted to people for their genes, aren't you? Because like it's something that you want to pass on with them. So if you find out something is fake or different, it's not really what you'll be able to pass on.
Oh, another thing is the fact that they can give you a child. I feel like that's a very big thing.
Yeah, like you
have to find out before they became anything because at least an ugly female and the ugly to fit female could has all the organs.
A barren wife.
Imagine she just lies. She just says that she's barren, but it's not. It's because she used to be a man.
I think there's loads of stories about that. But yes, to answer your question, so you're in a future where you can just change it up like that, and should it matter then? I think to answer your question, I feel like if that was happening, our social idea of like what gender is would be so. Because if it was that easy to change for like eye colour, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah.
And I feel like we would have adjusted to it because of that existing. So yeah, I don't think it would be an issue. Because we'd be different as people.
Yeah.
I feel like if that technology was there today, then it would be an issue for like a period of time.
Yeah, it would be like kind of ethics around.
Imagine you just.
That's all a kind of worms.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have to like debate it for probably Instagram these days rather than like lecturers and stuff. But yeah, I think people just need to get used to things. Like people are now more used to just being gay, and now people have to get used to being trans, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah. And
it's just like you can't force it. It kind of has to be like. What I say is that you've got.
I don't know if I will get used to the Z's per.
I don't know if it'll.
Day.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you want to be.
Yeah. Well, the thing with being gay, like gays.
Because I think it's so overtly. You're really shoving onto people.
Yeah.
The thing about being gay is no one's really shoving it onto you.
Being gay is like not a social construct. That's like the actual thing that men are actually attracted to have sex with men and with women. Yeah. Whereas like those things are like forced social constructs. Whereas social constructs have to be like naturally. They just come about. You can't like mandate them.
Yeah.
Like the rules of the games kind of just come out of like what people just choose to do over a period of time. So I think. Like being trans, if we're saying it's a biological thing, then it'll always be there, and then the natural social contracts will come from that. And then I think that's just basically of like what people look like is what we're going to call them. Like if the technology gets good enough that you look like a woman, I'm going to call you a woman naturally. Not because like a moral thing, just like I naturally will. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if you still look like a man, my natural thing is still going to be like.
Do you think that? So you know, like that Victoria's Secret model I showed you. Was she Victoria's Secret? Actually, the first Victoria's Secret. I showed you her, I DM'd you her, and like obviously she just looked like a really plain woman. Would you actually think of her as a man still?
Oh, is she transgender?
Yeah.
I don't think socially I would. I'd like it'd be much easier for me to do the whole pronouns, different call her name, that kind of stuff.
Especially because when you see her, you would automatically assume she was a woman. It's only because I now told you.
Yes, I think pretty much in every useful way I'd see her as a woman until it became to like having sex with her. Because again, I think it's about like I do think there's like some sort of like mental connection between. Being natural in their DNA kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I do think I wouldn't be with her, but I would see her like socially as a woman.
Yeah.
Same for you, like if there was a guy like he had this basically real penis and everything else. But you know he used to be a woman. Do you think that would still?
Yeah, it's just a weird thing. Even if it was like so they lived to women to 18 and then they got like chromosomes changed from like XX to XY, it would still be like they kind of were originally a woman.
What if they're both? And then they
like hermaphrodite.
Oh, like fills up the vagina and how they do that.
No, because that's really unfair for hermaphrodite.
Well, it's not about fair. It's about
because they're just born with both. Like so they just. I guess they're just assigned out, literally, basically, when they're like a baby.
Yeah, it's not fair. But it's not about what's fair. It's about like obviously you don't choose what you do with your genitals based on what's fair. You do what you want to do.
True.
If there was you were saying.
I think because they'll be like either man or woman. So I think like even if they do have like, isn't it like. So if they're a woman, like the clitoris would be like looks like a penis.
I think you can still have, but so there's that where you just basically got an engorged clitoris. But I think you can have both.
Yeah.
You can have literally everything.
Yeah.
Both. Would you?
Oh, it should be. I don't think I would be attracted to. I don't know.
Yeah.
That should be very odd.
Yeah.
I think because there's not you just know what all the rules are in your mind, and I think we're very simple. We're complicated, but we're also simple. I think we need like okay, that's a man. That's what I want. That's what I want. Cool. I mean, we probably like touched on so much of this stuff. Okay, so cancel culture you want to speak about, and the example that we thought of this was did you see the whole gay wedding cake situation?
What when like is Arizona when like the shop owners refused to give them like so it was the gay couple, wasn't it? And,
they wanted a wedding cake. That was literally it.
And then they were like shut down because they refused to give.
They won though.
The who?
The baker.
Yes. Okay. So originally they were shut down because he said religious reasons, whatever it was, his reasons. I don't want to make a cake for you, and he was a small business, and it was he was able to make the cake or not. And then so.
And he won on the basis of artistic license.
So what do you think? Do you think if you're offering a public service, you should have to like there should be some sort of mandate for that? Like it should be available for everybody.
Again, it comes down to this thing. Well, where to draw the line between having like your free rights to do what you want and someone forcing you to do something?
Yeah,
it's a difficult one.
I think I think the whole religious thing makes sense with that sense, but like, do you know what I mean? If like there was an example where a gay couple want to go to a hotel as well, I think that was a Supreme Court case I was thinking about, but because people said they wouldn't let you in. I feel like that's exactly the same. Imagine if they were like, no, we don't want you here because you're a Jew, or we don't want you because you're black. Like, that's irrelevant. That as in letting them in that room is irrelevant to your literal life.
Yeah.
Whereas designing a cake might be you're putting a bit more.
Well, either way, so I get you're saying that religion is a bit deeper for people than just like not wanting to. But either way, I think that it's still the same kind of argument, which is that like should you be able to do whatever you want with your business? But I guess what it says is like if you live in a country where you allow businesses to operate a certain way, it says like it's okay to be prejudiced.
But you could argue like they could just go to like the cake shop down the road.
They could, yeah. But it's just basically So it's like logistically it's not an issue, but it's kind of like what it means. It means that it's okay for prejudiced. It's hard.
I think maybe it's not so much of an issue like in the UK, but like somewhere like Dubai, for instance, like.
Oh yeah, Dubai. I'm gonna be making cakes for.
Like I would never even like step foot go in there.
Would you not ever go to Dubai?
Never.
Really?
I just feel like I don't judge people who go there, but I would feel guilty that my money was going to people who support like stoning gay people and the rest of it.
Sorry, I take back the holiday I went. Sorry, Harry.
I think because I think there probably are quite a lot of gay people that do go to Dubai, but very much like you have to go in a funnel of like straight to the areas that you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then, I think there is actually
people don't go to Dubai to be going to Dubai. They go to Dubai to like go to. There are probably loads of gay people that go to Dubai.
Yeah, there's a gay scene there.
Yeah.
But it's weird because there's like a gay scene in a place that they should be
around.
Yeah.
You probably can't go clubbing. I wouldn't go clubbing in Dubai though.
You probably could go clubbing. There probably definitely are gay scenes that are like known about. I think it's just if you are from there, you probably. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you're a tourist, they probably won't do anything to you.
Yeah, I think more if you're a resident or whatever,
Like women can drive there if you're a tourist, right? I'm pretty sure. You can't show your hair and stuff. I don't know if you can drive.
You can't show your hair.
I think you can't show your hair.
I literally wore anything I wanted.
No, there's certain areas you can't show your hair.
Oh right, yeah. But people tourists won't go to those areas. That's the thing.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, so I think it's like it's weird. It's really weird. Like they can literally build islands. Have you seen that whole thing?
Oh, what they call it, the World Islands.
Yeah.
The palm tree, what it's called.
Yeah, and change the weather. But no gay people, that's unnatural.
Not allowed in.
That's missing with God's rules.
Where wouldn't you go? I always thought Russia kind of scares me. I probably wouldn't go there. Seems a bit, I don't know, probably for gay and black people as well.
It's illegal to be gay in Russia still, right?
Yeah, it's getting worse. It's quite scary. It's like moving backwards.
Do you remember what was it? Was it World Cup? World Cup in Russia, yeah. You know, because they had the World Cup, and obviously loads of people went to Russia for it, and they were thinking like, oh, can we come if we're gay? And they basically said, you can come if you're gay, but it's just like, I think they just said, you can come if you're gay, that's your business kind of thing, but sort of just keep it quiet.
Don't be gay.
Kind of thing, like,
They're here. You can be gay at home, just not here.
Yeah, kind of thing. Yeah. Like we accept everyone, kind of. Yeah. Okay, cool. Okay, so are there any other examples of counterculture that, like, in the news and stuff like that you just think that's not okay? That's just too much. In general.
Have you guys got one? I think.
I mean, in counterculture in general, there's loads, but I guess in terms of specifically gay rights stuff or sort of.
I don't know. I feel like.
I think the gender
stuff is more the right. I feel like gay people just have rights.
Well,
in here, yeah. But don't go to Africa, Harry. It's illegal probably in most countries in Africa. Yeah. Even
I don't know.
Zambia is illegal, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, I think Auntie Nikki was saying.
And that's pretty close to South Africa, which is meant to be the free one. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's illegal in South Africa as well.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you remember that like video from Congo where he was like, "Eating the poo." Oh.
The insert
to the full document, the full like presentation where if you haven't seen it, we'll put the description if you remember. And he was explaining like what being gay is, and it was like because Obama. I think he said like because Obama went into office since then, like the world's gone to shit. And then he was like talking about analingus and like anal sex, and then he was like if the children can now leave the room, and then he showed like gay porn on the screen. I think he from his own hard drive probably. Yeah.
Have you ever met a born and raised gay African? I'm just trying to think on the top of my head. Obviously, there's loads of Africans who aren't raised in Africa who are gay.
Just black people, yeah.
Just black people.
I'm sure that if you go to like a gay club, there probably will be like some there.
I feel like I have, but I don't know.
Not that I know of. But then again, how many African people do you know that are born and raised there? I mean, we did obviously go to school there.
Yeah.
But how many people of those?
Probably let people that the twins or Alex know, probably.
Yeah, if we were to still know them, we'll know a few. Probably. Yeah. There you go. Okay, cool. So, what is another one on our list? Okay, yeah. So the whole evolutionary thing, because I think you first introduced me to this. The idea of like the evolutionary explanation for why there are gay people.
I think because it's like a lot of like religious people like try to put the evolutionary argument like, well, why is gay being natural? Why is it not like it's a decision you make because evolutionary terms? Why would you like have people who are not going to bring any children or whatever?
Yeah.
But I was reading like a good article where it's just like the uncle hypothesis.
Yeah.
So it's like obviously we get like herbivores will have like 8 in a litter and only like a few of them will survive.
Yeah.
But apparently that having more like hunters back in the day, like you could support your nephews and nieces, so they're more likely to survive, more food or whatever.
Yeah.
I just thought it was like quite a.
It sounds interesting, yeah.
Yeah, that's an
when
interesting.
you told me that, you were ahead of the curve. You told me that 10 years ago, and I've seen more stuff about it recently. It's so interesting. It's like apparently as well. So it works that if you have more older brothers, if you have a boy, with each boy that you have after that, it's exponentially more likely to be gay because you already have somebody to like go spread the seed kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you need somebody who's like you say, the uncle thing.
Yeah.
And then also if the mum's particularly stressed when she's pregnant, because she's more likely to need help, so they need the son to like stay with her while she raises the rest of the family.
Yeah.
They're more likely to be gay. So it's the thing, because you probably know way more about epigenetics than I do doing medicine. But like, is epigenetics something like? It's not about your genes, not just about your environment. It's like the environment of the sort of womb.
Yeah, it's like. So even if you've got like twins, for instance, you've got like the same DNA.
Yeah.
It's like, well, why would one of them have disease and one don't? Because surely like they have like the same DNA, but there's like, although like there's changes in your DNA, like the way it's stored and how it's processed and things like that, they can change.
Yeah.
And that makes
It's funny you say twins.
I feel like the argument to people who don't, believe in gay people. I just feel like it's really obvious, like, they don't want to have sex with.
Well, it's not even the political argument, but it's interesting.
I just feel like it's really just.
I just do think, like, 'cause what Harry's saying is, like, for example, a lot of this argument kind of regresses to the evolutionary thing.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe that's just the battle we should be fighting, like, that it is natural. And I think that is actually so interesting. There's so much data with it now. And funny you say twins, because apparently, if you're twins, if you're two boys, it's very likely one of them will be gay and one of them won't be.
Really?
Because you have two boys.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting.
That's the odd one, because you would have thought like having identical twins should be like they'll both be gay or both not be.
Yeah, but apparently because of that.
Anyone know a set of boys?
I think there's lots of celebrities like that, aren't there?
Yeah, I feel like there are.
Yeah.
Like YouTubers.
But I don't know. Do you know any twins that one's gay and one's straight?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I don't know any two boy twins, to be honest.
No, neither.
But apparently it's a big thing.
But what do you think about people with like the nature versus nurture thing? Do you think like nurture has any like influence on?
This is what I'm going to say right now. Because I have a theory that everyone's fluid anyway, and like anyone can just have sex with anyone if society wasn't, and that's a thing that overarches life. So I feel like with environment, let's say you were in an environment where there was only one option anyway, you just would have sex. Like let's say prison, for
Yeah.
example.
Yeah, so situational homosexuality is like a full concept by itself.
Yeah.
Prison.
Like if you're in prison, like you would just be so sexually charged anyway. You just would end up having sex, and like you may like it. Same for women in prison. Same for like I just think, I don't know. Sex is just a pleasurable thing that can be done with both things. And the whole Roman example where everyone was just being free and having sex with everyone, like.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a thing where, and like Greeks and stuff, it wasn't really a thing where you.
It's before like Christianity, wasn't
exactly.
it? So.
Christianity just came fucked up. No offense.
Yeah, it's
probably really offensive, but it's true.
Well, just that there's cycles
yeah.
of society. So like society has constructs, so religions and laws and blah blah, and then it breaks down, and everyone starts like whatever.
We're breaking down now.
We break it down now.
Wow.
But I don't know what it kind of also comes in the whole bisexual thing as well. You know the whole thing like where there's an idea that bisexuality isn't a thing in itself. It's like
I used to think that when I was younger.
people only use it to like half come out kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a similar thing to say, like, that argument, is that the same as saying, it's kind of the opposite of that, is it kind of return? I'm not really sure I say on either of them, because I do feel that even if I was in prison, or I went to a boys' school, or any situation, I mean, I've not tried, but I feel like I'm generally quite an open person. Like, I'm quite happy to, like, some people, if you ask them if they get it, they're like, immediately. I'm quite happy to explore that and, like, look at men and say, like, he's an attractive man. Could I see myself having sex with him? And the way I would compare it from my own experience of it is like, it's like a cousin or a sister or whatever. Yeah. It's, which apparently there's some interesting stuff about that. So apparently when you're raised with somebody, it might be something to do with like hormones or just like conditioning or whatever, but basically there is a natural process that makes you not have sex with them. Not want to have sex with them. So it's like, there is something that, but versus like if you were to, apparently like loads of people who meet their trained parents and siblings have sex with them immediately. Yeah. Because they feel there's something about their smell that they want to be close to, but they haven't been conditioned with the raising of them to not be to not have sex with them. Yeah. So they turn into sex.
So anti-incest genes.
Basically. So yeah, I just basically compare men to my siblings or cousins, whatever. Like I can know that they are objectively attractive or unattractive people, but there's like a very like wall comes down when it comes to having sex with them. So I just don't. But again, I don't know what part of like my genes, upbringing, whatever else, has put that wall there. Like, is it the thing of like being raised with you or cousins, whatever, that's built it up, or is it something that's genes? I don't think I can know, but I think it's very real. Do you know what I mean? I feel like if someone offered me £1 million to have sex with a guy, I don't know that I could do it. Just saying, someone offered me £1 million to have sex with a guy.
Yeah. It's really weird the siblings thing as well.
But
because three of the siblings would not have say that they would never have sex with the opposite gender, and the same gender, and one would, and that's interesting because we've all been brought up by the same people.
Wait, 3?
Like in our family dynamic.
Go on.
I'm saying that's interesting because we've been raised by this. Yeah, well, but I'm the only one who said I would have sex with the same gender, right? Even though we've all been raised.
But also, you're being a girl, and girls are more likely to say that.
That's true, and is that because we're allowed to?
Yeah, I do think that's because like if a girl has sex with a girl, people don't think she's a lesbian. They just think like, oh, she's being sexual, which I think is quite weird as well.
Yeah, it's so weird.
If a guy,
sexualized.
Yeah. Well, that's actually another part of the question. So I was thinking, and obviously you're going to have the best understanding of this. Do you think the dating scene for same sex is overly sexualized because when people think in general of like being gay, I think they think of like the sex of it. When you think of being straight, you think of like the sex, but also like the families, also like the romance and stuff. But do you feel like is too much of it is just concentrated on sex, not enough like the loving and stuff like that? Because obviously you're in a long-term relationship.
I think it's like that kind of like gay stereotype, isn't it? Where it's like everyone's like obsessed with sex, and I think to some extent like some stereotypes are kind of based on truth, and they're obviously like Grindr, the apps, and there's like they have like dark rooms, they call them in gay clubs, where literally the dark room people having sex in there. And that would never happen in a straight club ever. I don't know why it is. Maybe it's just because men are more horny. I don't know. Two men together in a relationship. I don't know. Yeah.
Do you think it's repression as well? Do you think because like there is some part of sex that I've been thinking about this a lot recently as well. Like, why is taboo and erotica like the same thing? Like when you can't have something, why is that like affairs and things like that? That's curious.
That was an interesting one because I do think the repression thing could be true because most men are probably more likely to, if they're gay, lose their virginity later because because a lot of boys their age wouldn't have come out, so they couldn't really find someone to have sex with.
Yeah.
So
But like straight couples could never have sex apart from at clubs in the duck room. Because let's say that the home situation they can't.
That's what Catholic girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
God, that's actually true.
The idea of
like private school,
the Catholic
boarding
school girl
school,
thing.
the Catholic school girl, they're really repressed, and they just start shouting about once they get to like a non-repressed phase.
So we think if it was just more open, like people could bring people home, and there wasn't this thing of like coming out later on. If everyone was having as much sex as straight couples, that they would just have ordinary amount of sex after that.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just part of the fetish of it, isn't it? Like where it's just so ridiculously sexualized, like gay stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe not so much lesbian dating, but more men stuff. Like gay men, I think it's too much.
Yeah, I feel like we always talk about gay men, but it's true because lesbians just aren't. They just get to, I feel like, chill out a bit more.
Yeah, I think it's.
And also, another thing. If you are a lesbian, that means that you could bring your friend home and no questions would be asked.
Yeah, and sleep with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could open the door and they could be cuddled up watching a movie and you'd be like, oh, you kids have fun.
Yeah.
Whatever the guys are doing. Accent scene. 2 meters apart, COVID rules.
You know what I mean? So like, you could literally just say that they're your best friend.
Yeah. So lesbians have an easier sort of. But then again, maybe it's harder because it's like, because like in terms of them dating, they could have friends that like hug them and then like have sleepovers and stuff who they like, and they don't know are they just being girls with you? Because if a guy like was your friend and he was like cuddling up with you, you'd be like, oh, he's gay, I'm gay, we found each other, and it's like
it's obvious.
Yeah, where if his girl's like, is she just kissing me because it's hot or like
because you don't know whether it's like being friends or like if you're trying to be like a sexual way.
Because that probably happens a lot. Probably girls do kiss each other like let's say on a party or whatever, and then she'll be like, oh my god, I finally kissed the guy I've always liked. And she's like, oh no, it's just doing it for fun, like go away.
It's weird why that happened, but it's just like society's made like women more like sex objects or whatever.
Yeah. But okay, so do you think what was I going to say for Michael? Do you feel like there's a pressure in interactions you've had or relationships you've had to be overly sexual? Do you feel like there's not enough like first dates, romance, all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, I definitely think that like being on like the gay dating scene is most I would say like 80% of people just for like a one night stand or low stress attached they call it, or they have like the discreet man next door who's got a wife and kids, like just wants like just like a young like boy or whatever.
Is that prevalent?
Yeah, honestly, if you go and grind around here, like I'm going it right now, I'll probably show you like.
Imagine it was like someone lived next door to us the whole time.
Really, make my phone now. Let me see.
Oh my god, Harry.
20 people in your area. Active right now.
But like that, what's the doctor from Embarrassing Bodies?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like he's supposed to be a proper like man slag.
Yeah.
Where he sleeps around like that gay stereotype, sleeping about like, and they call it chemsex, like having like sex and drugs and stuff.
Oh wow. Yeah, you never know what people do in their privacy of their own homes. Or on the internet as well, because people can explore their full sexuality.
On the internet, yeah.
And it's just only ever through the internet.
That's really sad. For some sexual things.
Yeah.
But that's not.
I think you take on the whole bisexual thing as well, like, because obviously you first kind of went through that stage where you were like, okay, am I bisexual? Or speaking for you, did you go through a stage where you felt that you might be bisexual, or did you feel that was the right thing to say? Or?
Yeah, it was like, so when I got to like, you know when you get like start getting feelings for like sexual feelings whatever when you're like 12 or whatever.
Yeah. So
obviously being like an all boys school was like really hard and like everyone's talking about girls or whatever, and I think it will happen to me one day, like it will come, and then I think in my head like, oh shit, I think I'm attracted to men, and like no, I'm bisexual, it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes a lot of gay people do it. It's like an easy way, like scapegoat almost. So I could like potentially have children and a wife or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of gay people just use it as like a way out.
Do you think that has that made you skeptical? Obviously, having gone through your experience yourself, that this whole is bisexuality not a thing? I mean, I'm not saying that it's not a thing. I'm saying, have you ever wondered like, oh, maybe everyone who's bisexual is just doing that? Have you ever thought that, or do you think that's definitely not a thing?
I don't know. It's a difficult one because you do get. Like, I've heard, like, there's bisexual guys where they're, like, the dominant one in a relationship if they're with a woman, but then the man, they want to be, like, the more, like, submissive one, yeah. So I think there probably definitely are, but it starts getting like more confusing when you're like on that spectrum kind of where you are.
That's what I'm saying. The fluid spectrum.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, because someone could generally just have sexual feelings towards a man and a woman, and then there's just nothing behind it other than that.
Yeah. Like, it's not something that I've ever like. It's just I've heard bisexual people say that this is some conversation we always have, and I'm just curious like what, like so what would Liam say about it? Does he still feel? Would he say that he is just attracted to the guys now, or girls? Or?
No, he's a bit more like I hate saying spectrum, such a stupid word. I say like 90% gay and then 10% bisexual.
Wow,
like,
quite small.
He like but some days it like varies. Like sometimes like he wouldn't want to have sex with women more days than others. So
or like a celebrity crush kind of thing. Like,
yeah,
fair enough. Yeah. No, I mean it's just an interesting thing because obviously that I can see why that's the thing that happens with some gay people, that they think like, because as well I think part of it is maybe like obviously tell me if this is right. If I'm bisexual, then I can sort of have fun and then end up getting married, let's say, to a girl, and then no one will ever know that I was ever.
But I think for those type of gay people, it's not even them thinking they're bisexual. They are gay, but they have to say they're bisexual, or they have to force themselves to think it so that they can be okay.
So they might say like, okay, it's okay that I like guys and having sex with guys now because eventually I'll marry or end up or whatever, and be with a woman and it'll be fine. No one will ever know, and have them go through that process of that coming out.
So I don't know how do you think you felt when you like realised that you couldn't have like a family naturally? Let's say.
You don't.
I'm not really like that, like maternal instinct. Like I don't really want kids or anything.
No, fair enough.
But that's another topic. Like, whether obviously like there's less gay families than straight families. Whether is that just because like gay people don't have that like instinct to have children, or whether it's societal? I don't know.
I'd be interested to see if, because that's actually another one of the questions. Can they do? Is this whole debate of like, for example, adoption agencies? It's harder for same-sex couples get kids. Do you think they can do as good of a job, better a job, or worse a job as lesbians and gays? Do you think it makes a difference, or?
Oh, it's a tricky one. I don't know whether. Do you really need like a man and like a woman role in like parenting? Like, I don't know, because then if you do get like the kids turn out fine most of the time. Most of the time, but I don't know. What do you guys think on it?
I think because it's so hard for same-sex couples to get a baby. They have both decided they want a baby. They both have to go through the adopting process normally, which means that they have to be vetted, how good they are as parents, all this stuff. I think they put so much into it. They're so sure they want a baby. They can do everything they can to be the best thing for the baby. Whereas most people just have sex. That's their This is just having sex. So I feel like on average they're just going to be better parents because of that than the average person who just has sex.
That's a good way to think about it.
In terms of like what you're saying about roles, I guess that's even less to do with like what you biologically ask, more like, do you need somebody that is going to sort of teach you this side of life and this side of life?
Whatever.
In that sense, I guess that's probably true. And as well, I think what people really mean by that is like, are they going to be conventional families? Are they going to be like confusing?
I would think of a single parent household as a conventional family now, because there's so many. It's very normal to me that some people have one parent.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and the parents out all the time, like working or whatever.
Right. So instead of having two, having one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I basically think
the same thing if you think about it. Well, it would be better if you had two parents to look after you rather than one anyway. So it wouldn't matter if they were both from the same gender, because if you're single, then you're still losing out on one anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I guess it's like, I do think, so it's at least as good as single parent, and it's probably better because you've got two people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Two incomes as well, which these days is another thing and stuff like that as well. Yeah, so I do think overall it would be better. And they probably do like have like friends or people, like
like sisters, like an auntie that looks. There's only two men, an auntie that looks after them like one day a week or something. That's pretty solid influence. That could be. Sometimes could be more than people spend with their actual parents, especially if they're distant from their parents.
So other female male role models in general outside of their parents. Yeah.
Or what do you think about like the actual like conception like methods for like same-sex parents? So like, I'm a bit weird where I actually kind of don't agree with having like surrogate parents for single-sex parents. I think like adoption's good. Like taking a child from like a disadvantaged background and you know, like giving like all their love and whatever to that kid. But I think like surrogate gets a point as it gets.
Oh, the thing where you like put the material, let's say, from 2 sperms, and then you put it in the, and you like put one in an egg, and then
sorry, that's a real thing.
You get material from a sperm and put it in an egg, so the egg is now.
Is that not ethically like?
And then you could put the other one sperm in that, right? That can work.
I think you can do like as a 3-way parents now. I think you can do so like you mix them. I don't know how to do it, but
yes, you have the one that like Barney Pie My Mother did it, which is I think.
Wait, in real life?
I think they have one. Basically, they have the 2 men's sperm and the woman's egg. And then one of the kid must be one of theirs, technically. Right?
Yeah.
And then one's the other.
Yeah.
And they don't say which, but like, obviously you're fucking going to find out. But I think can't you also do this thing where you take literally the genetic material from the sperm, put it in the egg? Maybe I'm making some pseudoscience shit up. Maybe this is like a concept.
Hold on, that's not a lie.
Oh, I don't know.
Will I have more testosterone? I don't know. Wait, what? I don't really know how fertilization works now.
Really
no, I'm like,
the egg
what's a
in the
basic
sperm
urine?
is just like a carrier for the genetic material.
Yeah.
I think you can just take it out.
But was it? I don't know whether the chromosomes. Well, now I'm confused.
No, but men and women both have. Sorry, well, no.
Oh yeah. Well, how does a female? How do you get female and male babies? How does that determine?
Well, because half
from
like,
the mum and the dad.
genetics,
Yeah.
the material's in the egg and half's in the sperm, and it makes the 46 chromosomes in it.
See, egg decides whether it's egg decides whether it's X or Y. The egg's X or Y, or the sperm's X or Y.
Yeah, because if both of them, if the sperm is X, and then you just come out with a boy. What? You can't have a girl.
I see what you're saying. I think the sperms are X and Y. So it could be.
No, it couldn't be. The X, the Y couldn't come from the egg because the woman wouldn't have the Y in them.
So can you only have one?
Yeah, so it'd be the sperm would either have an X or a Y.
Yeah, so you could have either baby still the same way, even if it was put in. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
You could have YY then. So you've got Y in the egg and then there's a Y in the sperm. Oh, I don't know. Okay, look it up. But yeah, okay, so is that for you? Is that because all the biology behind it is a bit unnatural? Or is that because you want to increase adoption for the sake of, like you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both things. It's like kind of playing, like, where do you say you're playing God? Like, where do you draw the lines? Are too far doing that? Yeah. Which I kind of think it is, like, as a
like
bit
designer babies, sort of.
Yeah. Where they can shoot. I'm pretty sure they do that, like, eye colour and hair colour. They can screen for stuff like that in America.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and because if you have less surrogate babies, then it forces more couples to adopt people.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I've had this conversation quite a lot about adopting. Obviously,
we should just all adopt. Honestly,
I get that. I do have a really so nice to speak about this all the time as a concept, and I get adopting. Like you're saying, you can. There's already these children that exist that need help, and look at Jeff Bezos. Adoption can really change someone's life. But at the same time, I think
Jeff Bezos, adopt me, please.
There's always gonna be that thing in you if you do want kids that you'd be like, you kind of just want to. I don't know, just be part of that process. It's like women giving birth as opposed to like.
I really don't mind not giving birth.
I kind of just want to be part of the process of having, and it also plays in your head.
But you're part of the process if you're adopting.
No, so I think adopting's fantastic for all the reasons that is obvious, right? But I also think there is something like I'm just drawn to about having just going through that process of having sex.
Can't you feel like as someone who's semi-adopted, not really, but like.
But again, there's issues with that. So I massively benefited from it. But at the same time, I know that I'm just wary that I always think in my head if I adopt a kid, are they always going to think that there's a gap between us?
It's not a real parent.
But as you've grown up, that gap has gone.
Well, it's not. It's reduced, but it's not gone. I'd rather have been this way so that I can get all the benefits, but it's not gone, and I don't know if that always niggle in the back of my mind. But obviously, that could be outweighed by the benefits of what you.
I wonder if I would mind. Well, the whole sibling thing, I don't care if you're only half of my genetic material and Jerome is none. It literally makes zero difference to me.
It might not. Yeah, it might make sense.
So I wonder if a parent would have made zero difference to me as well.
I do think, but your attachment with your parent psychologically is so different to the
Yeah.
Things. It's like a much bigger thing that plays in your head. So it is a tough one. And I do think there's a woman who wrote like a couple books, and she really wanted a baby, and she spent like 60 grand on fertility treatments for like 10 years, and now she's just given up. And maybe it should be more of an option pushed to at least those couples that can't have a baby and spend all their money in like distress and like get really depressed about it. Maybe just adopt and But I think it's just that she's just said she's not even going to adopt. She's just because she has like failed at what she wanted to do. She's just put off by the whole thing and won't even adopt. But
she could save a baby.
It's tough. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we absolutely smashed. Okay, let's finish off with the one that you said about the stigma with AIDS and being gay. Tell us like. You can introduce what you were talking about. Yeah.
So I was more like talking about like the blood thing
yeah.
and how if you have like gay sex within I think 6 months you can't donate blood. But then I was looking at the statistics like why it actually like is relevant or why they do that. So it's like the test is like 99.99% accurate, but there will be like that 0.01 where it will miss like an HIV diagnosis. Obviously really highly unlikely.
Yeah.
But like how I think that would be unforgivable if like NHS gave someone like HIV by accident from like contaminated blood.
Yeah.
But then I guess
if you're a woman or a man who's straight, you could still have HIV.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's either way they can still miss it. It doesn't actually makes no sense in my opinion.
Yeah. I think it's just like it's a high proportion like in
do you know
like
what the ratio
is, isn't it? Russia.
The ratio.
A ratio.
How many AIDS is there in Russia? What's the ratio roughly of?
No idea. It's straight to gays who have it. Obviously, probably more gay people, but it's not actually that the new diagnosis thing about in the 400s a year. It's not massive.
Yeah.
No, it's tough, and it's the same thing as like if you've been to Africa in the last year, just like have been to Africa, not going to specific, not had sex in Africa, whatever. Then you can't give blood for like a year, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's actually so horrible.
But again, like blood, don't forget. I guess what you're saying is like
they need to be safe. Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, exactly. The sorry is the consequences are so big. You've got to. But like they also on about constantly how much blood they need, and obviously in medicine you probably speak about this all the time. Like how important blood is in lots of situations, surgeries even. So I mean, even like if you haven't got a good enough glucose level, you haven't been to Africa where you gave all these million things and then you get turned away from giving blood. And those are only people that want to give blood. So it's like maybe you should take more risk of, AIDS or whatever else it might be, and then just have more blood in general, and maybe save more people overall. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's a good point. Like for instance, like Manchester bombings or whatever. Like if there was like obviously like blessed people went and they had like more than like enough blood they needed, but whether situations like that, if there wasn't enough, then maybe like waive the requirement for like. I know. Maybe that could be a good point.
That's a good point. Like if there was a pandemic where for some reason there was some situation, a global pandemic or something, where you needed blood transfusion as part of the help, and we were forced into it, maybe we'd see that.
Like an American conscription blood giving.
Wait, what? You have
conscription
to give
blood donor.
You have to give it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you have to.
I guess I wouldn't mind that per se.
I guess if you were born into it, you'd find it normal, but like just it's been mandated now that you have to give blood would be a bit.
But I guess it would just be like, okay, this Thursday I have to give blood, and then I don't have to give blood for like ages, or I never have to give blood again. I don't think it'd actually make me feel weird.
I think people's trust in like with doctors and the government though, they'd be like, "What are you doing with my blood? You're turning, you're making code to me, something like that, like putting down a box of my blood and like all that shit."
I think in mind that if I'm saving like, if I save someone's life with my blood, that would literally be amazing.
Well, you have to sign out, opt out of giving all your organs away now, don't you?
I don't really mind. Again, take my organs, please take them.
Yeah.
But I didn't realise, Chatham, St. Peter, I think, that's got the highest, I'm pretty sure the highest HIV rate in the whole country.
Really?
Yeah.
Where we live?
Yeah. Because apparently in the 80s they had like a group of like heroin users. Obviously they didn't screen for it back then. And then they just had loads of like dodgy blood that was just like gone around.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I didn't know that until the other day. I was like, oh my god.
Literally horrible. Wow. Terrible.
It's weird that it like concentrates so much. But, yeah. Crazy. But yeah, no, that's very interesting. I think we've actually accidentally. Ben looked at the screen. I think we've smashed through these.
Yeah. I feel like we're out of time as well.
Quite naturally went through all of them all, but that was really good. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for joining us.
And next time we come on, we'll do some sexual health questions as well. But I'm sure we'll have you on soon. And what a great episode. Okay.
Right.
Bye guys.